Hey, everybody, it is my true honor to have my friend Loren Taylor here, who's running for mayor, and very excited to hear his vision for Oakland. That's what this is about. So, you have any other slide stuff? Not happening. Mr. Taylor, council member four, former council member, Oakland mayoral candidate. How you
Doing well, doing well. Definitely, we're a day away. This is the last day before election day. So, obviously, we've been grinding hard this fast sprint of a special election and excited about what we're feeling on the ground, what feedback we're getting from community members. And, things are looking good. But of course, with these elections and campaigns, you can never take anything for granted. So, continuing to push hard all the way through close of polls tomorrow.
Hey, so what? The city is going through a lot of dramatic changes, and we both know what's happening. You better than me because your feet are right there on the ground. What are people talking to you about? And what are the high and low moments? What do you come out of what you're experiencing? What are people saying to you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that just folks are frustrated and fed up that they're not getting the basics that should be a given when it comes to city government operations. Keeping people safe, keeping our streets clean and in good repair. Creating opportunities for people to thrive, or at least getting out of the way so that we're not blocking people creating value and having promising careers and just going about their daily life.
And how is it that you've changed as you ran this? So you've been through a lot. I have to be honest with you. I didn't know you were in the hospital, man.
Yeah. It's definitely a blessing to be on the other side, for sure. And God doesn't throw anything your way that you can't handle, and He looks out. And so definitely, I have my own testimony as to that. And similarly, I know that Oakland has been through a lot, but I know that we can get through it with dedicated focus. Pulling folks together, but not just unity, but unity that is driven towards action and driving results.
So what's your vision for Oakland? How do you see us? How do you want to reshape Oakland? What's going to be?
For Oakland to be a best-in-class city, we have to focus on growth. We have been sort of shrinking, losing economic value, losing residents, losing businesses, and we not only have to stop the bleeding and get back to the basics of basically just providing the core services people need, but eventually we have to get to growth. We have to plot a course towards this pie that is growing, expanding, as opposed to just fighting over crumbs as it shrinks and gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And so when it comes to growth, number one, what are the things that are suppressing growth?
Yeah.
Public safety. Sure. We've got folks that are not coming to our city, folks that live in our city and are not going to downtown or our commercial corridors, but going to other cities to spend their money, to spend a night on the town, that kind of thing. And we've always had that loss of revenue and income because folks would go to other cities, but it's gotten that much worse because of public safety, because of those fears, those concerns. And so we got to address that. We've got to address the condition of our streets, because with the blight, the legal dumping, all of those conditions that folks look at and say, Oakland's not an attractive place. It's not a place I want to come. Like, I want to go somewhere where my spirits are lifted up as opposed to dragged down. And not to mention the potholes. That is huge on everybody's mind, right? Just the fact that, we can't drive down our streets without, doing, the shifting, dodging craters, you name it. And the amount of money that folks are spending on repairing tires and rims and everything else, that hits your pocketbook and that hits people hard. So that's another basic we have to take care of. We see our small businesses and the larger businesses leaving or shifting jobs away from the city. That's undermines our growth as well. If we've got folks, we can't even keep the ones we have, let alone add on to that to create value and more jobs, more creation. So really, safety, cleanliness, and creation of opportunities. That's what it's about. And then we get those right, then we can go to the growth. We can create. My vision is that we have a second downtown anchored in East Oakland that may not have the same look and feel, but creates the same economic value and vitality as opposed to the East Oakland, High Street towards San Leandro border being a net consumer of the resources as opposed to a net producer that's adding into who we are and what we the value we create. It looks like I'm losing you. Looks like I lost you, but it's still live. So I don't know what you're going to do with this segment if you're not here. Maybe I'll just answer a question.
Hey, folks, I don't quite know what happened. I don't know what happened. That was like all of a sudden that was weird.
Here you go. I'm here. It looked like I was still there, so I'm not sure if it was recording or not. You'll have to check that out afterwards.
Oh no, it's still recording. Yeah,
Okay.
It never goes away. It registered a blip, and it was kind of weird. I was like, because I'm like,
Okay.
my hands are free. So anyway,
I was about to go on my whole little soliloquy, do a little stand-up comedy show like I did last night.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool, man. Definitely. Hey, let me ask you, since I don't want to get you off track of talking because you're about to get on a good roll. But let me help you out here.
Okay.
The NFL draft is next week, so it's actually appropriate. I was in Detroit for the draft, and I had lunch with my longtime friend and classmate, Kofi Bonner. Now, Kofi is probably a little bit before your time, but he was interim city. He was city manager for Oakland, then economic development director, and ultimately wound up working for the Cleveland Browns as president. But now he's CEO of Bedrock, and Bedrock is the organization that owns the properties that are owned by Dan Gilbert, who owns the Cavaliers. So what he was turning me on to when we were having lunch was something that I thought was remarkable for Oakland. Let's watch your feedback on it. What they did was Dan Gilbert's idea was, hey, look, if I have all of these things popping off at the same time, basically the same year, then I get my economic vitality. So I've got the new building over here. I've got apartments over here. I've got the redone ballpark that used to be for the Tigers over here. And literally, I was in Detroit for the 2006 Super Bowl. It was awful. This time, wow. I was blown away. What about that kind of approach? Because we never really talk about, how the development is going to take shape, right? And so I was really intrigued by that. What do you think?
I think that makes a ton of sense. When when you're baking, you want all of your items to come out hot at the same time because you get that additive effect. You get the best possible meal, right? And so similarly, we're looking at how a culmination of several things come together to really create that boost that has the lasting and sustained impact on development in an area. And so I think what you described there, that strategy makes a ton of sense. And we should be looking at how we leverage that additive effect. So when we talk about the World Cup coming here in 26, we talk about the Super Bowl coming here. We talk about the other projects and elements that we could have lined up to actually be this, double jump, triple jump for the city. Like, it's a huge opportunity for us. And I think that further underscores the urgency of the moment, that we actually have someone in leadership that understands, appreciates that vision, that ability, and also can hit the ground running, because 2026 is not that far away. These opportunities, if we don't get on top of them now, they will be wasted and squandered, and we'll be, basically just sitting here dumbfounded looking for the next thing, hoping that it comes.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because like with the Super Bowl is in February. It's in Santa Clara, right? Well, San Francisco. But the last time the Super Bowl was in the Bay Area, that was the 50th Super Bowl. And by now, we already knew where the Oakland events were going to be.
Yep.
Nobody knows, right?
Yep. No,
and I find that alarming.
On that. Absolutely. No, we've got to lead on that. We got to be thinking a year, 2 years in advance, as opposed to simply playing catch up and reaction, because with the other cities in the Bay Area, they've already got stuff lined up. They've already got their bids in. They've already lined up their local businesses to be in the supply chain base for this incredible sort of event and everything that's going on. We cannot afford to have Oakland behind the ball when it comes to really taking advantage of the opportunities for us as a city, for our small businesses, other businesses, for our residents. And so, I think I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, another big fat example. This is right up your alley. About a month from now or 2 months from now, Super Bowl 50 was here. We had our business symposium at the Scottish Rite Temple. I have it's on YouTube video. we were already making sure, and we didn't host the Super Bowl. We were already making sure that our people were in line. And now it's kind of like, right? You say people and you say something, they kind of like, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's good to hear that.
Absolutely. And you even look at the Bay Area Host Committee, right? Like the committee that actually brings these large, global events and sort of bids on them. And we look and where's the Oakland representation? We don't have that, right? You got those that are, represent the major sports teams and others. But even the Oakland roots don't have sort of a seat at the table in terms of that conversation. And so if Oakland's voice isn't at the table, then what do we expect but to get sort of the crumbs after everyone's already decided what they're going to do? Take advantage
you and I are different. This is why I'm like old man that yells at cloud, right? Because, 65 will be old. I'm 62 now, or 63. My point, though, is that we need our own sports commission. We need our own NBA team. We need our own, why do we have to count out all these folks, man?
I don't think we differ on that, but we can't. We need to do both. We build towards getting our own while also making sure we have a seat at the table at the other. It's not an either or from my perspective.
Yeah, and you want to focus also, I'm glad, on small businesses and revive the Economic Development Corporation of Oakland, which we had actually when I was hired by the city way back in 1986. So
we need to dust that off, figure out what was working well, reinstitute that, and add on to it with newer things that others who have thriving economic development corporations that have continued to provide value, see what they're doing well, and incorporate that also.
I want to hear what surprises. Is there anything or things that you saw that surprised you on the campaign trail?
I guess it's hard for me to answer that because being on the campaign trail is about learning. It's about hearing from folks. It's about incorporating that into what we're doing, how we're doing. And obviously I came with strong perspectives because I'm not new to this. I've been on the ground consistently engaging with community, addressing those issues that are front and center in their minds. And so as a result, I can't say that there's huge surprises. It's only that things have gotten a lot worse in the past 2 years because of neglect, because of decision-making that doesn't prioritize Oaklanders and is simply sort of perpetuated either self-dealing or just driving certain ideology, regardless of the impact on everyday lives of Oaklanders. And so things have gotten worse. Maybe I didn't realize the extent that they had gotten until you start to peel back the covers. Like as an example, we talk about supporting small businesses and, the number of small businesses, partners, vendors, suppliers to the city who now have invoices that are past due, the city has not paid, and we have not been just doing the basics of fulfilling our promises when we engage in a contract or a relationship. Like, that's preposterous that we are not sort of taking care of business and leaving people high and dry in that way. And there are other examples of just the dysfunction and how it impacts everyday Oaklanders, our local businesses, and others. I'd say maybe that's one of the bigger surprises is like you lift up under the hood and you're like, wow, I knew it was bad, but didn't realize it was that bad.
Do you have a handle on that? Because I think the reason is that it seems like we've let go of people who had institutional memory and we brought in people who are new, maybe too much. Maybe part of it's I think it's our government structure personally. It's a whole nother discussion. But what do you think the problem is? How do we get there in your view?
It's a lack of focus and a lack of systems that drive accountability.
Yeah.
Bottom line is like if we're not creating the transparency, holding ourselves accountable, willing to call each other out when we're not doing the work, and give everyday residents, visibility into what is or what isn't working, clear timelines on when we're going to commit to doing things, and then sort of delivering on that. If we don't handle that aspect of just execution, operations excellence, then we're going to have a whole lot of talk about what we want to do, what feels good, what we hope happens, but we're not actually going to execute and deliver on it. So I see that sort of just operational excellence and the willingness to be transparent with everyone and then accountable as a result. Those are things that I see lacking, and that breeds corruption, mismanagement, dysfunction, all of these things that people look at and say, why can't Oakland have nice things?
Mhm.
Why do we have to go across the border or take a flight to see, what we could and should be?
Mhm.
It's disheartening for so many folks, and that's the essence of why I'm running, right? As a a kid from Oaklander with a career outside of City Hall before coming in, like, I'm not motivated by just perpetuating status quo. It's about solving these problems to where they don't reoccur, continuing to do damage to Oaklanders and our Oakland economy.
Do you see it as, do you have when you get in like the first maybe what, 50, 100 days, do you have a plan to overcome that? Because whoever takes over, uh, we're dealing with a huge deficit of morale. I mean, it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, you know what I'm saying? What say
Yeah.
you working with that?
Well, we've got to absolutely rally the troops, create a greater sense of pride, a greater sense of hope. Let's just be honest, right? A lot of the morale, loss of morale, and dissatisfaction with government, distrust of government, is because we are not. I'll say it's because we have not been delivering. We have not been proving that we are a good partner and we're prioritizing folks. And so we got to start delivering on the basics. So what are we going to do first 100 days? Hey, we have to create a safety buffer around our commercial corridors to let folks know that it's okay to come downtown and you're not going to be a victim. You don't have to, keep your head on a swivel or worry about your car getting broken into whenever you come to Oakland. That's driving folks to Walnut Creek, San Francisco, Alameda, you name it, right? We also have to make sure that we're leveraging technology effectively and efficiently. There's been a hesitance to use technology because of a fear of Big Brother or whatnot, and it being abused. There are systems that we can put in place, controls, protocols that protect from abuse, that limit that, while also allowing us to take advantage of the same technologies we're teaching our third and fourth graders to use in school. Like that, we shouldn't deny ourselves that opportunity to use those resources to keep each other safe, to create opportunities, etc.
It does beg the question, Loren, how do we do that? Because I 100% agree with you, but there's this fear, particularly today, of authoritarianism and the tech bros suddenly having this overarching look at all, So how do we sell that without going in that direction?
So I think part of it is, yeah. So I think part of it is we have to make sure that we are holding the line on what you can and cannot do with data.
Yeah.
And like, just being real, like, yes, there are opportunities for abuse, and we've got to make sure that we are ahead of that and in partnership with those tech enthusiasts, tech experts that understand and align with our community values, so that we can work together on responsible use of technology versus just creating a free-for-all. The other thing I think is important is that when we look at sort of technology that's out there, let's look at transparency, creating open sources as opposed to creating proprietary databases and systems, etc. There's a collective accountability that's built into open source, openly sort of available, transparent solutions that gets past a middleman that is only out for profit. Because if everyone has access to it, then they no longer have a unique competitive advantage over that, right? And so certain things we would want to keep in a public, open domain versus just throw into allowing any private corporation to monetize it, right? I think that's one. And that means we got to be smarter with the data. We got to, and the information that's out there, and we have to teach responsibility internally of consumers as well. Like a lot of people are being abused and taken advantage of because we're not educating them. We're not giving them the tools. And then the other thing is, like, you embrace technology, you create more pathways for those from our community who have historically been underserved, under-resourced. If we don't embrace technology and stick our head in the sand, then we will continue to be bypassed, and that divide will be even further in terms of the digital divide, in terms of the economic divide, and others. So we've got to prepare for that next generation as opposed to simply pretending like we can fight the trends that are absolutely happening, whether or not we engage.
And also about the city itself and operate the city administrator. Are you keen to keep the? What are your thoughts
It's,
about?
it's cutting out a little bit. Zennie, can you repeat that question?
Yeah, the city administrator, Justin Jenkins, him having your own. What say you about that? About
Having
the city administrator, new city administrator.
Justin, I like
you
Justin.
have that choice.
Yeah,
not personal toward him.
I like Justin. He seems. Yeah.
It's more about structure.
I think maybe you're asking two different questions. Yeah. So more about the structure. So I do believe that we need to have a strong mayor. We need to move to a full strong mayor form of government. The mayor is and should be the single throat to choke that the electorate residents go to and say, we gave you this mandate. We are going to hold you accountable for delivering or not delivering on that mandate. The current charter structure does not give that mayor as much influence over the mandates that the residents give. And so as a result, there are excuses that could be had. You could point fingers. Now, when I get elected to office, regardless of our current structure, I'm going to embrace the mandate that I was given and not use the charter as an excuse to not doing those things that I'm elected to do. And part of that is recognizing that a lot of the decisions or indecision that has been happening within City Hall is more a lack of political will than actually not the charter being an encumbrance. And an example of that is when you have the OPD pursuit policy. Yeah. That is an administrative policy that can be changed by the police chief, who reports to the city administrator and the mayor, as opposed to it being a restriction that you have to go through the police commission or other things, the other finger pointing that was happening. And so we have to understand what really is and isn't within scope for certain roles. And that will allow more, I will say, ownership as well, besides simply modifying the charter.
I guess what I'm getting at is basically a lot of the times the next mayor will replace the CAO. And a lot of people now are in the habit, unlike when I was working, we had council manager, of trying to find a new job because they think, hey, maybe you're not going to retain them. So are you going to retain the current staff? Because you got, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm not making a commitment right now on who to retain and not. What I am committed to is giving Justin fair evaluation relative to what he has been doing, his track record, his history, and how he sees moving forward. And I'll say I am also listening to and sort of eyeing other options as well, so that we have a full breath as opposed to being left high and dry if one of the options is no longer available through no sort of fault or no influence of my own. But we always have to be prepared to guide this city, and things may come up. Someone may make an alternative decision, but the core thing is that we have a city administrator in place that is fully committed to this job, this city, this community, and not just sort of keeping the wheels going. You can be technically accurate, but not fully vested in the community in a way that allows you to do this job at the level that we need and deserve. So that is a big criteria. And of course, you got to be able to technically execute as well, manage folks, and help to execute on the vision that is established by the mayor and the council.
You see, now we can talk about jokes. I know you did jokes, man.
Hey, every now and then, I get the. Go ahead.
You were on fire last night. You were lighting it up last night. You were good. You were on fire.
We decided to take advantage of the moment.
Yeah, you did a great job, man. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun.
How did you? You saw the live stream, or what did you see?
Suze Robinson, they're all been great. They get every time they're out, all the candidates, they send me stuff. You know, Suze does,
cool. Good stuff.
Mindy, yeah. No, they've all become really good friends. Pastor, I mean, everybody. But Suze is, she was really on her J. You know, I didn't expect it. It was then and they never say, "Oh, Zennie, get ready for this." It's always like, "What?" Yeah. So no, they've really been great, man.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 21st century
Cool.
media action. So yeah, that's how I heard about it.
So
I made all these videos, or I made 2. I didn't get the others. So if you have more, send them.
Okay,
Not the ones that are incriminating.
Cool.
You know, that's up to you though.
There you go. So certain ones for sure. Not everybody's appropriate for prime time, but yes.
Well, hey man, I want to thank you for stopping by.
Absolutely. No, glad we finally had a chance to catch up. And election day, 24 hours or 30 hours, and we should know at least the initial polling that's the returns that are coming in. So just encourage everybody to get out there, get your ballots in the mail, make sure you vote, because this is a critical election for Oakland as we seek to turn our city around and start delivering in a way that we know we could and should.
Yeah, well, regardless of when that you win, there'll be a stranger, man. Come on by, you know.
Appreciate that.
Make your media. Hey, you know.
There you go.
Do it.
Thanks so much, Zennie. Hope you and Mom are doing well out there, and look forward to connecting sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely. You got it. Hey, stick
All right.
around.
You take care.
All right. Okay. You got it. I'll see you.
Bye.
Hey, cool. That ends the stream, folks. I'll call you. You out, Loren? Okay. I'll close you out. Okay. You close your. I'll take care of it. You can close your out. Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
All right. The stream is ended. That ends the stream.